Picture this, it's 2026. You are watching an NBA superstar just absolutely dismantle a professional defense.
Oh, yeah.
He's dropping these mind-bending highlights, manipulating the geometry of the court like he's playing against practice cones. And the most disrespectful part of all of this, supposedly, he is doing all of it while wearing AirPods during the actual game.
Which is wild.
It's insane. But stay with us, because by the end of this deep dive, we are going to unpack a shocking conclusion about what this level of relaxed, almost casual dominance means for the entire future of professional sports. You will not want to miss where this is heading.
It really challenges pretty much everything we've been taught about the psychology of high-stakes competition.
It flips the script entirely.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Sports News Desk, everyone. But hey, before we get into the X's and O's of this run, do me a quick favor. Drop a comment down below with your thoughts as we go along. Hit that like button, and make sure you subscribe to the channel so you catch all our future deep dives. We're bringing this dynamic energy directly to you every single time. Okay, let's get right into it. Today, we're looking at some phenomenal 2026 footage of LaMelo Ball, specifically through the lens of Jamal Crawford's breakdown over on GD's NBA highlights. And, I mean, when you watch this tape, it is nothing short of a masterclass.
Yeah, what stands out immediately in Crawford's breakdown isn't just that LaMelo's making shots, it's the state of mind he's operating in. Our mission today is to really dissect the anatomy of a player who is operating in an absolute flow state.
Right.
Because this 2026 footage, it shows a guy who has perfectly synthesized that, playground creativity with a ruthless, surgical NBA efficiency.
And the way he uses that efficiency to break defensive schemes is just wild. Let's look at what Jamal Crawford called the Christmas tree game.
Oh, against Denver.
Yes, against the Nuggets.
Yeah.
Crawford literally said LaMelo, quote, lit them up like a Christmas tree. And the numbers are just absurd. We are talking 30 points and 9 three-pointers in one specific barrage.
Unbelievable.
Right. Out of his 20 total shot attempts, 17 were from behind the arc. He basically treated the paint like it was lava.
Which is a brilliant tactical counter when you consider who he was playing. I mean, look at the Denver Nuggets. They are built around interior dominance, right?
Big bodies.
Exactly. Highly structured physical play. They typically impose their will by controlling the paint and shooting around 50% from the floor. If you try to play a traditional inside-out game against them, you are playing right into their hand.
Right into the trap.
Right. And LaMelo recognized that and completely refused to engage in their terms. By taking 17 threes, he stretched those massive interior defenders 25 to 30 feet away from the basket.
You just pulled them out.
Completely neutralizing their primary defensive strength.
But what's crazy to me, and I think you'll agree, is that this historic shooting night didn't start off like a hot streak. The tape shows he started the half shooting 37%.
Yeah, a bit of a cold start.
Right, and I watch a lot of basketball, and usually when a star is shooting under 40% from deep, you see a shift in their body language.
Pretty tense.
Exactly. They start pump faking open looks, or they try to force a really tough drive into a crowded lane just to see the ball go through the hoop, maybe get to the free throw line. But LaMelo didn't blink.
Well, that is where the psychological component of this whole AirPods vibe comes into play. A 37% start is enough to make a good player hesitate, but a player in a true flow state doesn't feel the weight of previous misses.
He just forgets them.
He didn't let the early percentage dictate his shot profile at all. He just kept firing from deep until the variance swung his way and it exploded into a 15 three-point game for the Hornets overall.
Which is huge.
It is, because when a defense realizes that missing doesn't deter you,
That you have zero internal panic.
right, it actually transfers the panic onto them.
You can physically see that panic on the tape too.
Mm-hmm.
There's this one massive defensive blunder where a defender gets caught looking for a screen that isn't even there.
Oh, I saw that.
He completely loses track of LaMelo, scrambles to recover, and desperately contests a shot from miles behind the line. And what happens? He ends up giving LaMelo a 4-point play.
Such a mistake.
Crawford points out in the breakdown that you might as well just concede the shot at that point. I mean, why give up the foul on the free throw when he's already shooting from another zip code?
You see defenders making those irrational decisions because LaMelo's mechanics and his range, they completely break the defender's muscle memory.
How so?
Well, NBA defenders are trained for thousands of hours to pick up their man at the three-point line. But LaMelo is pulling up from what Crawford called Chino Hills range.
Chino Hills.
Yeah, we are talking 10 feet behind the arc, and he's not just shooting traditional jumpers either. He's shooting off balance, he's launching off his left foot, taking shots off one leg.
It's crazy.
You can't drill a closeout for a one-legged 35-footer. It just short-circuits their defensive programming.
Exactly. And there's a sequence where he takes a highly questionable 2-for-1 shot, elevating off 2 feet.
Which Crawford actually notes is pretty rare for him. Super rare. And it's just pure string music. The degree of difficulty is off the charts, but he looks like he's just casually listening to a podcast while he does it. Or a deep dive, right?
Hey, totally unfazed.
But if we look beyond the scoring, how does this individual gravity impact the rest of the floor? Because pulling a center out to the logo has to create a domino effect.
Oh, it creates a massive domino effect.
Yeah.
Look, a player who just chucks 35-footers can actually stall an offense if he's not utilizing the space she creates.
Right, it just becomes hero ball.
Exactly. But because LaMelo commands a double team or extreme defensive attention so far from the hoop, the backside of the defense is constantly in rotation. He uses that shooting gravity to unlock his court vision.
Opening up the floor.
Right. Because the floor is so stretched, guys like Brandon Miller.
Who logged a team-high 33 minutes in one of these games, by the way.
Right. Brandon Miller and Miles Bridges are suddenly operating with massive driving lanes and clean catch-and-shoot opportunities. You see opposing coaches trying desperately to plug those leaks, like in the Indiana Pacers footage. They throw a half-court trap at him. Now, on paper, Indiana's logic makes sense.
Sure. Blitz the ball handler.
Blitz him, speed up his internal clock, force the ball out of his hands before he can get comfortable. But throwing a trap at a guy with this level of court vision just seems like a death sentence.
It really is.
He just effortlessly read the double team, slipped the pass out, and essentially ignited a one-man fast break going the other way.
Well, because trapping a visionary passer with that kind of height isn't really a trap.
What is it then?
It's just voluntarily giving the offense a 4-on-3 advantage.
Wow, yeah.
The Memphis Grizzlies, on the other hand, tried a completely different approach. They were so terrified of the perimeter barrage that they aggressively overplayed the three-point line.
Trying to run him off the stripe?
Exactly. So LaMelo just shifted gears. Instead of forcing the deep ball, he knifed right into the lane. When a player with his finishing ability penetrates, the defense naturally has to collapse.
Which kicks off the cycle again.
Exactly, a cycle of wide-open transition threes for his teammates. He is entirely dictating the terms of engagement based on whatever the defense is overcompensating for.
And the passes he makes when that defense collapses are just pure highlight reel material. He throws this perfectly timed lob to Bridges for a slam dunk that just completely deflates the arena.
Just takes the air right out of the building.
But the play that really caught my eye, and Crawford highlighted this specifically, is what he called chicken salad save.
Oh, that was incredible.
The possession looks totally dead, the shot clock is inside 5 seconds, the spacing is ruined, the ball is fumbled, and it looks like a guaranteed turnover. And out of absolute chaos, LaMelo somehow threads a pass to salvage the play and keep the offense alive.
That chicken salad sequence is the perfect distillation of street ball instincts rescuing NBA structure.
That's a great way to put it.
In a rigidly structured offensive system, when the set breaks down and the clock is expiring, the possession is functionally over. You take the shot clock violation and jog back on defense.
Yeah, you just give up.
But LaMelo possesses an elite internal clock and spatial awareness. He doesn't panic when the structure fails. He actually thrives in the scramble, turning a mathematically negative situation into a productive look.
And his spatial awareness translates to the defensive end too, which brings us to the fan mail steal.
The fan mail steal, yes.
This sequence actually led to his first dunk of the season. He's back on defense and he reads the opposing guard's eyes so perfectly. Crawford jokes in the video that LaMelo read the passing lane like he was reading his fan mail. He just completely disrespects the offense's set play.
Anticipation is often what separates good athletes from truly elite basketball players.
Right.
That steal wasn't a product of a lucky deflection in a crowd. If you watch his feet and his hands, he makes a highly calculated, decisive overplay with his left hand.
He knew exactly where it was going.
He anticipates the angle, shoots the gap, and pokes the ball out into clean air. Once the ball is in open space, his stride length and processing speed guarantee that the offense is never going to catch him. He manufactures his own fast breaks by creating that clean air.
I love that phrase, creating clean air. He snatches the ball, and you can almost feel the opposing team's morale drop as he takes it to the house. Speaking of dropping morale, we have to talk about his unorthodox arsenal in the half-court.
We definitely do.
Because some of the moves in this 2026 reel are flat-out disrespectful. Let's unpack the dead leg fadeaway he uses against Jackson.
So good.
To me, that looked like he literally hit pause on reality, adjusted his footing, and then hit unpause while the defender just went flying by.
The biomechanics of that dead leg move are fascinating when you analyze how NBA defenses operate. The entire league is trained to guard acceleration.
Right, staying in front of the guy.
If an offensive player speeds up, the defender is conditioned to match that burst of speed to cut off the angle. What LaMelo does with the dead leg is the exact opposite. He weaponizes deceleration.
So he's basically using their own momentum against them.
Precisely. He drives hard, forcing Jackson to commit his hips and accelerate to stay in front. Then, LaMelo demonstrates unbelievable core strength and body control to just stop abruptly.
That dead leg hesitation.
Right. The defender's momentum carries them completely out of the play. From there, LaMelo uses a gravity fadeaway, leaning slightly back, to ensure his release point is completely unblockable. It creates an incredibly soft finish at the rim. It is surgical.
Surgical, slicing through traffic.
Yeah.
And he doesn't care who's rotating over to help either. The tape shows him utilizing these incredibly crafty left-handed finishes, just fighting through contact.
Yeah.
We see him blow right past Luka Doncic. But the matchup that really stands out is a wildly tight one-point clutch game against Kawhi Leonard.
Wow, it was a showdown.
Kawhi is having a monster night. He drops 30 points and 4 assists, and he is known as one of the most suffocating perimeter defenders of his generation. But LaMelo is just casually trading baskets with him, completely unfazed by the pedigree of the guy guarding him.
Going toe-to-toe with a two-time finals MVP in a clutch situation is usually where you see young players rush their mechanics or defer to a veteran teammate.
They get intimidated.
Kawhi Leonard's entire defensive reputation is built on intimidation and physical disruption. But this brings us right back to the flow state concept.
The AirPods vibe.
Exactly. When an athlete reaches that level of immersion, the name on the back of the defender's jersey becomes irrelevant. They aren't playing against Kawhi Leonard. They're playing against the angles and the geometry of the court.
And when he manipulates those angles perfectly, the results are devastating. Crawford highlights a game against the Boston Celtics, and context is key here. This was on the second night of a back-to-back.
Always tough.
In the modern NBA, that is usually a scheduled loss. Guys have heavy legs, the jump shots fall short, the rotations are a step slow. But instead of resting or struggling, the Hornets put on a clinic.
They really did.
The broadcast commentators called it a lopsided affair, explicitly noting that LaMelo handed the contending Celtics their worst loss of the season.
Imposing your will to that degree on the second night of a back-to-back against a championship-caliber team like Boston speaks volumes about how his offensive engine operates.
Yeah, it's not normal.
He isn't relying purely on explosive, fast-twitch athleticism that fades when he's tired. He is using his pacing, his vision, and his unorthodox rhythm to dictate the game. You don't need fresh legs when you are outthinking the defensive rotations.
And sometimes, when all the thinking and all the geometry breaks down, he just relies on pure, inexplicable magic.
Oh, the heave.
Yes. I am thinking about the final clip Crawford shows. The unbelievable heave. The shot clock is expiring. LaMelo is physically falling out of bounds, his momentum carrying him away from the hoop.
Nowhere to go.
He just throws the ball up into the rafters, purely out of desperation to beat the buzzer, and it hits the bottom of the net. The broadcast crew was literally left speechless before asking, how did he do that?
While it looks like pure luck to the viewer, that heave is the quintessential byproduct of thousands of hours of gym time.
You think so? Even that?
Absolutely. When a player is operating on that specific frequency, their spatial awareness doesn't turn off just because they're falling out of bounds. The conscious brain doesn't have time to calculate the trajectory, the windup, or the release.
It's all automatic.
Muscle memory entirely takes over the desperate heave. And because his mechanics are so deeply ingrained, even a wild throw has a mathematical probability of finding the cylinder.
Which brings us to the core of this entire deep dive. We promised you a shocking conclusion right at the start regarding these 2026 highlights and that infamous detail about him supposedly wearing AirPods during the game.
Right.
Whether the AirPods detail is literal or just a perfect metaphor for his demeanor, the conclusion is the same. The fact that a player can execute this level of hyper-athletic, complex geometry,
Hitting dead leg fadeaways, reading craps.
draining one-legged 35-footers,
Yeah.
doing all that while projecting the relaxed, casual energy of someone listening to lo-fi beats, It completely redefines our understanding of peak performance.
It absolutely dismantles the old-school sports narrative.
How so?
For decades, we've been told that greatness requires a visible, grueling grind. Athletes are supposed to look intense, they're supposed to grit their teeth.
Mamba mentality stuff.
Right. But what this tape and this era of basketball suggests is that the future of dominance looks entirely different. It isn't about looking like you are trying harder than everyone else.
What is it about then?
It is about being so incredibly skilled and so deeply rehearsed in your craft that the highest level of competition becomes a casual, subconscious rhythm. The AirPods aesthetic isn't a sign of disrespect. It is a terrifying indicator of absolute mastery.
It's like someone playing a video game on easy mode, except they're doing it against the most elite athletes on the planet. And this is where it connects directly back to you, the listener, whether you play a sport or not.
Exactly. Consider your own career or daily life. We all step into high-stress environments.
Every day.
It might be stepping to the podium for a massive presentation, walking into a tense negotiation, or staring down a critical project deadline. The question this tape forces you to ask is this: how can you build such intense, deeply ingrained muscle memory in your own field that you can operate in those high-stakes moments with the casual confidence of someone just listening to their favorite playlist? How do you prepare so thoroughly that your toughest challenges trigger your flow state rather than your panic response?
That is the ultimate upgrade, isn't it? Putting in the unseen hours until the hardest things look utterly effortless to everyone else. But I want to leave you with one final provocative thought to chew on before we close out this News Desk deep dive.
Let's hear it.
If an athlete's muscle memory and spatial awareness can reach such an elite level that they can completely detach their conscious focus from the pressure of a screaming 20,000-seat professional arena, what happens next?
That's a good question.
Will we eventually see a generation of athletes who actually perform significantly better when they are sensorily isolated?
That opens up a completely uncharted territory in sports psychology.
Right. Imagine a future where leagues legally allow players to wear noise-canceling technology on the court. They wouldn't hear the opposing bench trash talking. They wouldn't hear the hostile away crowd booing them. They would treat live, championship-level games like their own private silent VR simulations. Think about the absolute terror of trying to guard an opponent who can't even hear the pressure because they are just completely locked into their own silent matrix. The psychological warfare of that is incredible to think about.
It's a fascinating and honestly slightly terrifying glimpse into where human performance might be headed.
It really is, and we will definitely be keeping an eye on how this evolution of the game unfolds. Thank you so much for joining us on this dynamic sports news deep dive. We loved breaking down this tape and the psychology behind it with you. Give us one final favor. Remember to subscribe to the channel. Drop your thoughts in the comments about that VR simulation theory. Would you want to see players mic'd up or completely tuned out? And most importantly, stay curious until next time.